What's going on, everyone? It's JJ Zachariason here, the editor-in-chief over at FanDuel and at numberfire.com, here to do the weekly fantasy football Q&A. Lots of start-sit questions. I'm going to get this out of the way at the top and say that the games in with Green Bay against Jacksonville, you have the Pittsburgh game, you have the Cleveland game. Those three games in particular are a little bit scary on the weather end with the wind. So I'm going to be lower on some of those guys. Like DJ Chark, Jair Alexander's not playing. Typically, I'd be really high on Chark today, but because of the wind, I'm not as high. So just keep that in mind as I answer these questions. We'll kick things off with Bethany Peters, friend of the show. Ingram or Gronk PPR, I would go with Evan Ingram. Full PPR, Fant or Goddard, I would go with Fant, leaning Fant there. Vikings, Browns, Washington, or Detroit defense. I think I would go with Washington in a good spot. We know that line can generate some pressure, but I don't mind any of those defenses this week, really. I would probably put Detroit in its own tier below those. But I like Cleveland with all the weather going on there. I like Minnesota against Chicago, but I think I would go with Washington. Need one wide receiver in half PPR, Brandon Cooks, Chris Godwin, Robbie Anderson, or DJ Chark. Again, hypothetically, I would go with DJ Chark. I think with this one, I might go with Godwin, but it's close between him and even Robbie. I mean, Brandon Cooks, again, in that tough weather game. Next one, pick two or rank Rager, Goddard, Tim Patrick, Jacoby, Zach Moss. I would pick Jalen Rager and Zach Moss there. I really like that Cardinals-Bills game this week to be high scoring, so I want pieces of that. Hey, JJ, need one wide receiver and one flex in half PPR. Devontae Parker, T. Higgins, Giovanni Bernard, Kenyon Drake, Mike Williams. A lot of good options, honestly. I think Devontae Parker should see a lot of volume, so I'd probably go with him there. And then from a floor perspective, I might just go with Gio in the wind that's going on in Pittsburgh. You know, T. Higgins is a little bit riskier. So I'd probably go with Gio and just get that high floor. Really tough to play Kenyon Drake right now. Even if he does play, because we don't know what his workload's going to look like. Mike Williams is kind of the wild card there. I don't mind him at all this week, but I think I'd go Gio for the floor. Mike Evans or Justin Jefferson. Really tough to play Mike Evans, period, right now. So I'd probably go with Jefferson, but I say that very reluctantly. Drake, Duke Johnson, or Lindsey. I would go Duke Johnson. Hey, JJ, thanks for all the help every week. You're welcome. Would you go Robert Tonyan or Henry at tight end? I would probably go with Hunter Henry. I know that he hasn't produced, but his peripherals haven't been all that bad. And then John Brown or Hollywood Brown. I'm going John Brown this week. I love Brown in a revenge game against the Cardinals. DJ Chark or Will Fuller in half PPR. Both of them are in bad weather games, so I'm just going to go with DJ Chark. I like his matchup more. Goddard or Hawkinson at tight end this week. I'm going to go Hawkinson. With potential heavy wins in the Pittsburgh game, would you stick with Big Ben or pick up Tua or Drew Lock to stream? I think that you can go with either of those guys. Yeah, I wouldn't play Big Ben as a result. He also didn't practice this week because of the COVID scare. Hi, JJ. Love the podcast. Thanks. I need two full PPR, Gio, Melvin Gordon, DJ, or Balaj, and that's DJ Dallas for those who are listening to this. Before you judge, I'm the Mixon and Carson owner. I would probably go with Gio and I guess Melvin. It's close, though. You know, I think there's just a lot up in the air with Tremaine Pope playing for the Chargers. I don't know what Balaj's workload is exactly going to look like. And then we saw Travis Homer get some work last week, so DJ Dallas is up in the air as well. Chase Edmonds or Rojo in half PPR. I kind of like Rojo today. It's a game where Tampa Bay should be able to run the football. And with Kenyon Drake coming back, that makes Chase Edmonds a little bit riskier. I think Edmonds is a safer play, but I think Rojo is more of a ceiling play. Obviously, Edmonds would be the ceiling if Drake doesn't go, but I do think that Drake is going to play. Edmonds, Davis, or Balaj, pick two. I'm going to pick the first two. Chark or James Conner, full point PPR. I'm going to go James Conner. Great matchup for him. It's a great matchup for Chark, but again, the weather. Travis Fulgham, Christian Kirk, or Chris Godwin in full PPR. I'm probably going to go with Godwin there. I think Kirk is pretty close. A little bit worried about Fulgham going up against Bradbury this week. Locke or Wentz. I think you can go with Wentz. JJ, love the pod. Thanks. Rager, T. Higgins, or Hollywood in full PPR. I'd probably go with Higgins there, but it's close. Hollywood's just not been there for us enough. Doesn't have a solid enough floor. Rager in a really interesting spot, but there is a little bit more risk there. I'm just going to go with Higgins. Gibson or Hunt. I might go with Gibson with Nick Chubb coming back. Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis, and Zach Moss need two. I would go with Davis and probably Moss, but I think that you can make a case for Edmonds. I think Davis is in his own tier there just because of the workload expectation, and then the other two are sort of a toss-up. Pope or Balaj for the Chargers. I'm still going to lean Balaj because of the workload that he saw last week, but I get it. I get that this is a question and why people would wonder. Tim Patrick or Fulgham. I'm going to go with Fulgham. Gio or Fournette. Probably going to lean Gio there, but again, that one's pretty close. Love the pod. Need to pick 3 of these for flex spots in half PPR. Cooks, Deontay, Jefferson, Harris, Hawkinson, Marquise Brown. I'm going to go with Hawkinson, Jefferson, and I want to say Deontay with all those cornerback injuries to Cincinnati. Goddard or Ebron, I'm going to go with Goddard. Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, or Fulgham, pick 2. Probably the latter 2. Actually, I might go Deontay and Fulgham. Wentz or Big Ben, Duke or Keenan Allen at the flex. I'd go Keenan Allen. I don't know how you would bench Keenan Allen. And then I'm going to go with Wentz. Chark or Godwin in half PPR. I'm going to go with Godwin because of the weather. T. Higgins or Justin Jefferson. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. Flex 1 in standard, Will Fuller or Duke Johnson. I think Johnson has a higher floor. Hey, JJ, thanks for everything. Thanks. Going back and forth in half PPR, Mark Andrews or Dallas Goedert. I'm still going to go with Andrews there. I know he hasn't produced, but I think it's a toss-up. Full PPR pick 2, Chase Edmonds, DeAndre Swift, T. Higgins, Antonio Gibson, Jerick McKinnon. I'm picking 2 here. I'm definitely going Antonio Gibson. I like him a lot today. And I might go with Jerick McKinnon, who should see a decent workload today as well. Mike Davis or Miles Sanders in standard. I'm going Miles Sanders. I love Miles Sanders today. Zach Moss or Chase Edmonds. Again, I answered this one earlier. I think it's a toss-up. Obviously, if Kenyon Drake doesn't go, you're going to play Edmonds. But I think if he does go, I might go Zach Moss. 12-team, full PPR. Kareem Hunt or Fulgham or Duke Johnson. I think Duke Johnson probably has the floor of that group. I might lean his way. Robert Tonyan or Hunter Henry. I'm going to go with Hunter Henry. PPR pick 2, Deontay Johnson, Ayuk or A-Rob. A-Rob is officially questionable. Yeah, so I would still play A-Rob. I'd probably go with Ayuk and A-Rob there. But hopefully you have an alternative like Darnell Mooney is on waivers or something like that you can add if A-Rob doesn't go. But if you don't have that alternative, then I can understand just not playing A-Rob. Reagor, Hollywood, or Tim Patrick. I'm going to go with Reagor there. Lindsey, Edmonds, or Noah Fant. If it's a standard league, you said. Probably go with Edmonds, but I do think that Fant is kind of close. Hey, JJ, start 1 in full PPR. Tremaine Pope, Joshua Kelly, Travis Homer, or DJ Dallas. This is a dart throw situation here. I'm going to go with DJ Dallas of those 4. McKissick, Godwin, or Chark in half PPR. I'm going to go with Godwin. Gallman, Burkhead, or Hasty. Gross, I know. Yes, this is very gross. I'd probably go with Gallman. Need one from Reagor, Hooper, Dobbins, Hollywood. I would probably go with either Reagor or Dobbins. Half PPR, Moss or Shepard. I'm going to lean Moss there. It's really tough this week. My goodness. Good morning and thanks for the time. Zach Moss or JD McKissick in standard. Since it's standard, I'm going Moss because JD McKissick is going to rack up his receptions. And he's way more viable in PPR. Jacoby Myers, Balaj, or DJ Dallas in full PPR. I think you can go with Myers there. Standard scoring flex, Henderson, Claypool, Jefferson, Deontay Johnson. Thanks. You're starting 1. I'm probably going to go with either Jefferson or Henderson there. Pick 2 from Cooks, Godwin, Gallman, and Samuel. I'm assuming that is. I'm going to go with Godwin and Cooks. Deontay Johnson or Chase Edmonds in half PPR. Again, it's really tough with Edmonds. I think he's more of a flex. I think Deontay's sort of in the same boat. He has a lower average at the target. I think that they can use him in those lower A-dot ways despite the win. So him and Juju are at somewhat of an advantage over a guy like Chase Claypool. So I'm going to go with Deontay there. But obviously, hopefully that means that Kenyon Drake is playing. Hey, JJ, start 1 in full PPR. I already answered this one. Anybody having trouble saving their DFS lineups? I hope not. Edmonds, Chark, Antonio Brown, or Dallas. I am going to go with, I really want to go with Antonio Brown there. So I'm gonna just risk it and go with AB. Hollywood, Kirk, or AJ Green in full PPR. I'm gonna go with Kirk. I really like Christian Kirk today. Deontay Johnson, Godwin, or Edmonds in half PPR. I'm going to go with Godwin. Judy or Ayuk. I'm going to go with Judy. AJJ PPR, AB, Reagor, or T. Higgins. Thanks, you're the best. I think it's either AB or Reagor. Hi, JJ. Love the podcast. I need 2 full PPR. Gio, Melvin Gordon, DJ, or Balaj. I already answered this one. PPR flex, Parker, Landry, or Kirk. I'm going to go with Parker. I think he has a high floor there, but I do love Christian Kirk this week. Good morning, Chark or Reagor. That one's pretty close. Chark is the higher variance play. Reagor has more of a floor because of the weather, so it depends on what you need, I would say. Devontae Parker or Chris Godwin. I think I would go with Parker. I just think that the volume ceiling is there. Tua, Newton, or Carr. I'm going to go with Derek Carr. More upside, Packers or the Eagles D? I'd say the Packers with all this wind. PPR pick 1, Tyler Boyd, Will Fuller, Tyler Lockett, or Gio Bernard. I am going to go with Tyler Lockett there. But I actually like Tyler Boyd a lot against the Steelers because they've been really, really bad. They continue to be bad against the slot, which is something that they consistently are bad at. Let's see. Lost my spot for a second. I think I saw Hooper or Hawkinson. I'm definitely going Hawkinson there. Henderson or Moss. Probably going to go with Henderson, but I can understand if you would rather go with Moss. I know that doesn't really help you that much, but they're sort of in the same tier, and I don't have a strong preference. Godwin or Brandon Cooks. I'm going to go with Godwin. Mark Andrews or Dallas Goedert. Answered that one earlier. I'm still leaning Andrews. Locke or Carr. I'm going Carr. T. Higgins or Melvin Gordon. Depends if you need a floor or ceiling. I think the ceiling is probably T. Higgins. I might just go with him. Start 2 in Hunt, Edmonds, Moss, or Dallas. I'm going to go with Hunt and probably Moss, but again, Moss and Edmonds are a toss-up for me. Full PPR, McKissick or AB at the flex. I'm going to go with AB. JJ, you're beautiful, man. Ugly question. We got Savon Ahmed or slash Washington or Rex. I'm blanking on this Washington question. You're talking about DeAndre. I'm going to go with Savon. Cup or Will Fuller. I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp this week. Ayuk, Reagor, or Tim Patrick. Thanks. I am going to go with Brandon Ayuk. Fuller or Woods. I'm going with Bobby Woods. I love those Rams receivers against the Seahawks this week. Hooper or Goddard. I think you can go with Goddard because of the wind. I think otherwise I probably would have said Hooper. McKinnon or Claypool in full PPR. I'm going to go with McKinnon. I think he has a safer floor. DJ Dallas or we have Henderson. I'm going to go with Henderson there. Darrell Henderson. Mike Davis or Nick Chubb. I am going to go with Nick Chubb. Standard League, Green Bay or Miami today. I'm going with Green Bay. Flex Mike Davis or Antonio Gibson in half PPR. I don't like Mike Davis's matchup that much, but he does face a Buccaneers defense that's been bad at giving up receptions to running backs. But I think I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. This sets up as a good game for Gibson. A team that can't stop the run very well, a team that's given up the third most adjusted fantasy points to the running back position. I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. I know that Mike Davis is a little bit safer from a workload perspective and a receiving workload perspective, but the most recent sample that we've seen of Davis without CMC, he wasn't utilized as much as he was when CMC first got hurt. Would you play Fuller with the weather concerns or go with Judy, Hollywood, or Reagor? I'm going to go Judy there. T. Higgins or Damian Harris? I'm going to go with T. Higgins. Sit 1 in full PPR, Duke Johnson, McKinnon, Fuller, or Gibson. I'm going to sit Fuller because of the wind issues. Obviously, Will Fuller's made a living off of these big plays. I don't know if they're there in this game. That over-under has dropped significantly since it opened. Wentz or Watson? I'm going to go with Wentz. I can't trust that game. Thanks for your quick prediction for us. I hit that like button for sure. Who you like better, Rodgers or Allen? Definitely Josh Allen with Rodgers in that wind and that weather up in Green Bay. Let's see. Over-under for Thielen on 5 receptions. Been tough owning him recently. I'd go with over. PPR, Shepard or Cooks. I'm going to go with Shepard. Andrews or Goddard, already answered that one. I'm going Andrews. Gallman, Parker, Hooper, half PPR. I'm going Parker. JJ need a tight end to fill. Gesicki, Jared Cook, or Logan Thomas. I'm going to go with Logan Thomas. I think it's close between him. Actually, I would probably go with Cook as more of a safety play, but I think Thomas is right there. Hi, JJ, 0.5 PPR, Zach Moss or Curtis Samuel at the flex. I'm going with Zach Moss. Jacoby, Reynolds, Fant, or Hollywood need one. I'm going to go with probably Jacoby just because of that target share that he's been seeing. PPR, Drew Brees or Wentz. I'm going Drew Brees. Fulgham, Fournette, or Edmonds in half point. Probably lean Fulgham. Swift or AB in full PPR. I might go with AB just because the workload shifts so much in that Detroit backfield. Deontay Johnson or Jacoby Myers. I might go with, that's really tough. I guess I'll go with Deontay. Antonio Gibson versus Will Fuller. I think I'm going Antonio Gibson because of that weather. Emmanuel Sanders or Jacoby Myers. I think that you can make the case for Emmanuel, but I'm going to go with Jacoby because that target share has been so consistent. Trust DJ or start one of Claypool, Devontae Parker, or Justin Jefferson. Opponent has Big Ben. I think I'm going Devontae Parker. I guess I'm higher on Devontae Parker than most people. Fulgham or Juju in half PPR, thanks. I'd probably go Fulgham there. Pick 2, Woods, Robinson, Evans, or T. Higgins. Is that James Robinson? I'm assuming it's Allen Robinson. I'm going to go with Allen Robinson and Bobby Woods. PPR, Thielen, Mike Williams, AB. I'm going Thielen, Fournette, Chark, Higgins or Judy, 2 for the flex. I'm going with Judy and Higgins, between Higgins and Fournette. Sit 1.5 PPR, McKissick, Gio, Deontay, Kirk, or Higgins. I'm sitting 1.5 PPR. I am going to sit JD McKissick. Do you like Diggs today in DFS considering the matchup? I don't like Diggs. I love Diggs. Goff versus Seattle or Herbert versus Miami. I'm going to go Jared Goff. You helped me out big time last week. That's good to hear. Chark or Marvin Jones. I'm going with Marvin Jones. I don't trust this weather. The last time, I think it was week 8, we saw all this wind. I know that Aaron Rodgers was fine, but he was really mostly fine because he kept throwing for touchdowns. It wasn't like he had this unbelievable game. But what we saw across the league is that teams were a lot more run heavy than they've typically been. From an expectation standpoint, they were a lot more run heavy. So I just don't love these pass catchers and these quarterbacks in these windy games. Miles Sanders or James Conner in PPR. I'm going with Miles Sanders. Cam or Baker. I think I'm going with Cam. I'm risking it, and I hope that he gets some of those rushing touchdowns that he lives off of. Kyler or Josh Allen. Kyler is the best quarterback on the slate, in my opinion. Duke Johnson or John Brown in half PPR. Man, this is tough. I love John Brown. I think he has the higher ceiling. I might go with him, but I like Duke, too, from a high floor perspective. Ronald Jones or Deontay Johnson in standard. I might go with Rojo if it's a standard league. Duke Johnson or Antonio Gibson. I lean Antonio Gibson. With the downer thoughts on Fuller, Jeffrey, or Shepard. I think you can make the case for Shepard there. I would not be playing Alshon Jeffrey coming off his injury. I feel like Alshon Jeffrey hasn't played since 2016. But I'm going to go with Shepard over those guys. Shepard, Chark, Reynolds need 1. I'm going to go with Shepard. Reynolds is a good sleeper this week though. Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Antonio Brown, or Ayuk. If I'm going with 1, I'm probably going with Ayuk. Oh, need 2. Sorry. I would go with AB and Ayuk. Fuller, Fulgham, AB, or Shepard. I'm picking 2. So I would go with AB and Fulgham probably. But I think you can make a case for Shep. Kirk or Deontay Johnson, I'm going Christian Kirk. Swift or Nick Chubb, I'm going Nick Chubb. Big Ben, Goff, or Wentz this week, I'm going with Goff. Hi, JJ, need 2 in the flex in PPR. Marvin Jones, Rojo, Jefferson, Alshon, Jamal Williams. I'm going to go with Rojo and Justin Jefferson. Tua or Carr, I'm going to go with Carr. Full PPR, pick 1. Fuller, Higgins, Swift, Rager. Man, a lot of these, it's like the same guys over and over again. I think I'm leaning Higgins or Swift there. Sounds like you prefer Kupp over Deontay Johnson. Yes, I definitely prefer Kupp over Deontay Johnson. Bridgewater, Rodgers, Brady, or Watson need 1. I would probably go with Brady. I think it's close. Not Bridgewater. I don't like Bridgewater that much this week, but I think it's close between Rodgers and Watson. Again, this is strictly weather related. We have Savon Ahmed or DJ Dallas. I'm going to go DJ Dallas. Duke Johnson or John Brown. I just answered that one. Claypool versus Edmonds. I think Claypool has the ceiling. Edmonds has the floor. Depends on what the rest of your lineup looks like. Will Fuller or Jacoby Myers. Look, Jacoby's a safer bet. Obviously I'd be going Will Fuller without hesitation if not for this weather. I might still go with him because Jacoby Myers has a pretty tough matchup. I guess I'm going to go with Fuller. Thanks for answering first question. PPR flex need 2 from T. Higgins, Duke, Gio, and McKinnon. I'm going to go with probably Duke and McKinnon. Curtis Samuel, Josh Reynolds, or John Brown. I'm going John Brown. Deontay Johnson, Marquise Brown, or Brandon Ayuk. I'm probably leaning Ayuk. Ayuk or Fuller with the weather. Yeah, so without the weather, it'd be Fuller, but with the weather, I'm going to go with Ayuk. Mooney or Tim Patrick. I would go with Mooney. Half point Moss or MG3. I'm going to go with Zach Moss. Rojo or Gallman in half PPR. Thanks. I'm going to lean Rojo there. Thielen, AB, or Deontay need to start 2. I'm going to go with the first 2. Juju, Thielen, or Justin Jefferson. I'm going to go with Thielen. Mark Andrews or Austin Hooper. I think I'm still going with Mark Andrews. Gio or Parker. If it's PPR, I'm going with Parker. I think regardless, you might want to go Parker. Watson or Rodgers. Since they're both in bad weather games, I like Watson's upside on the ground a little bit more, so I think I would lean his way, but I think it's very, very close. Zach Moss or Devontae Parker. I think I just answered that one. Maybe I didn't. I'm going to go with Parker there. Fulgham or Gio in 12-team PPR. Thanks. I think I'd go with Gio as a floor. I'm just a little bit worried about the corner matchup for Fulgham. Can't thank you enough for your amazing insight, JJ. You're welcome. PPR RB2. King Henry is the RB1. Drake Rojo, or take a huge gamble and add Savon Ahmed off waivers for 1 week play. I wouldn't be playing Ahmed over those guys. I think I would just go with Rojo because I would assume we're going to see somewhat of a split between Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, but I think it's very close. I just am higher on Rojo this week than others are because the last 2 weeks there have been reasons as to why he hasn't been on the field as much. 1 week he fumbled. The other week, there was a negative game script, so Leonard Fournette, the pass catching back, was on the field. This week, I could easily see Rojo being the early down guy, Tampa Bay just crushing and running all over Carolina, and Rojo would have a bunch to do with that. Parker or Gio, I'm going with Parker. Watson or Breeze, I'm going with Breeze over Watson. Is DJ Dallas worth a stream? Depends who you'd be playing him over. Need 2 quarterbacks, Mayfield, Ben, or Foles. I'm going to go with the first 2 still. It's close between Mayfield and Foles with all that weather. But I think Ben is probably the lock of the 3 because I feel best about his situation. Let's see. Thanks for all the great work on the pod. Flex PPR spot, Mike Evans, Sterling Shepard, or Darrell Henderson. I think Henderson has the floor. Evans is a ceiling, and Shepard's kind of in between for what that's worth. Fant or Ingram in standard, you the man. I'm leaning Fant. Gordon or Henderson, and Wentz or Goff. I'm going with Goff over Wentz, and I'll go Henderson over Gordon. Pick 2 PPR, AB, Cooks, Deontay, McKinnon. I'm going to go with McKinnon and AB. What do you think Wayne Gallman's value is rest of season in half PPR, like an RB3-ish? DJ Moore stays retired this week. I hope not. Standard pick 2, Godwin, Fuller, Higgins, Chark. I am going to go with Godwin because I think it's the safest from an environment standpoint, and I will risk it with Chark. Need 2 half PPR, Duke, McKissick, John Brown, or Devontae Parker. I'm going to go with Duke and Parker, but I think that you can make a case for John Brown and Parker. Swift is apparently starting this week. Do you think do you think you would move him over Chubb? No, I would not. And I still can't trust, even if a guy starts, I can't just take that for what it's worth. I mean, we have all the peripheral numbers from this year. We have all the evidence saying that Swift is in a committee. So hopefully it happens. If you have Swift, I still think he's like an RB2 this week, but I'm not worried about Chubb. I think Chubb is going to get 15 plus carries. Watson or Breeze, I'm leaning Breeze there. Burrow or Locke, I think that you can go with Locke with all the weather situation. Wentz or Watson, I guess Wentz. Drake, Samuel, Dallas, or Kirk. I am going to go with Kirk there. I really like him this week. Tyler Lockett, Josh Reynolds, or Bobby Woods. I'm going to go with Bobby Woods. I think that he has the safest floor. And, obviously Tyler Lockett has the best ceiling there. So if you need that ceiling, go ahead and go with him. But I think Bobby Woods is in a great spot. Christian Kirk versus Zach Moss. If it's PPR, I'm going Christian Kirk. Half PPR flex, Reagor or Damian Harris or Jamal Williams already playing Aaron Jones. I would probably go with Reagor there. Tight end premium, Goddard, Ayuk, or Landry. I'm going to go with Ayuk. Better combo, Woods, Gesicki, or Kupp, Logan Thomas. I'm going to go with the latter. So Kupp and Logan Thomas. PPR pick 2, Marquise Brown, Jalen Reagor, John Brown, or Josh Reynolds. I'm going to go with Reagor and Brown. Let's see. Sorry, lost my spot. Renfro or Dobbins. I'm going to go with Dobbins. Ben Burrow or Daniel Jones in a 2 QB league. That's rough. I guess I would just stack the Steeler game. But maybe I'd go with Ben and Daniel Jones in case the weather is really bad. Because if the weather is really, really bad, then all of a sudden you lose both quarterbacks to not having good games. So I'd go with Ben and Jones. McKissick or Drake in half PPR. I think McKissick's going to give you a better floor probably, but I might just go with Drake and risk it. McKissick doesn't really have the touchdown upside that Drake has. The environment's way better for Drake. I might just go with Drake there. Lost my spot once again. Claypool, Deontay, Swift, half PPR. I am going to go with Swift there. Pope, Dallas, or Ingram, and that is Mark Ingram, not Evan Ingram. I'm going to go with DJ Dallas. Half PPR need to sit 2 for Fournette, Moss, Henderson, McKinnon, Kelly. I'm sitting Kelly, and I'm sitting... Wow, this is very difficult to pick another person. I guess I would sit Fournette. Pick 3 to start. I don't know if I want to sit Fournette. I would sit Kelly and Henderson. Pick 3 to start. Juju, Godwin, Kirk, T. Higgins, Reagor. Thanks, my guy. I would go with Godwin, Kirk, and Juju. John Brown or Judy in full PPR. I'm leaning John Brown there, but I like Judy a lot this week. Does Herbert continue his high point streak against the Finns this week? Yeah, I like Herbert. I think he's a top 10 play. Pick 2, half PPR, Godwin, Ayuk, and Kirk. I'm probably going to go with the latter 2. Half PPR, Moss or DJ Moore. I mean, Moss is going to give you a better floor, and I think that he has just as high of an has just as much potential to find the end zone. So I'm going to go with Zach Moss there. Josh Kelly or Malcolm Brown in half PPR. I guess Josh Kelly. Myers, Dobbins, or Balaj in full PPR. I think Myers is probably the play, but I do like Dobbins a lot. Locke or Watson. I think I'd still go with Watson there. Chark or Brandon Cooks. Both are in bad environments. I'm just going to go with DJ Chark. Pick 2 half PPR, Juju, Chark, or DJ Moore. I think I would go with Juju, and I might just risk it with Chark. Flex, please. Standard, need 1. Thielen, Melvin Gordon, McKissick, or Jacoby Myers, or DJ Dallas. I'm very confused about this question. I think I'm going with Thielen and then Myers. I think that's the way this is being worded and phrased. Hey, JJ, Deontay Johnson or Darrell Henderson, PPR at the flex. Henderson gives you a better floor, but I might go with Deontay because it's a PPR league. I actually have the exact same scenario in one of my leagues. PPR 2 of 3, Amendola, Grant, or Hamler. I think you can go with Amendola and Grant. Half PPR need 2, Melvin, Moss, McKissick, Hollywood. I would go with Moss and Melvin. Man, keep losing my spot. Browns or Vikings D. Can go either way. I think the Browns could actually see a decent day today. I might still go with Minnesota though. Found my spot again. Half point need 2, Claypool, Judy, Fournette. I'm going to go with Judy and Fournette. Top 2 tight ends in DFS this week. If you want value at the tight end position, which I generally try to look at in DFS, I think Austin Hooper is a good value at $5,100. And I think another low key streamer / very cheap option at tight end, Jacob Hollister. If I'm wrong, you cannot at me. T. Higgins, Kalen Balaj, Devin Singletary, full PPR. I'm going to go with T. Higgins there. Need to pick which one of my 5 wide receivers to sit out. Fuller, McLaurin, Thielen, Smith-Schuster, Fulgham. I think that I would probably sit out Smith-Schuster. Who should I start, Wentz or Ben? I would probably go with Wentz. Sit 1, half PPR, Gibson, Swift, Geo, Duke Johnson. Probably Geo. Boyd or Thielen. I think you can go with Boyd. I really like Boyd's matchup there. And obviously there's going to be more passing volume in that offense more than likely. Claypool or Fuller. I'm going to go with Fuller. Standard need 2. Drake, Edmonds, Jefferson, Ayuk, Moore. I'm going to go with Jefferson and Ayuk. Reed or Mike Gesicki. I mean, they're both sort of in the same boat. It's a dart throw. I don't have a strong opinion there. Pick 2, Shepard, Fuller, Moss. I would go with Shep and Moss. Which 2 wide receivers in half PPR? Moore, Chark, John Brown, Deontay. I am going to go with John Brown and probably Chark. DJ Moore, DJ Chark in full PPR. I mean, the ceiling is DJ Chark for sure. It's just that there's weather concerns. So if you need that ceiling, I would go with Chark. Generally that's the way that I play. So I'm going to go with Chark over Moore, but I think that it's very close. Sit 1 and half PPR, T. Higgins, Marquise Brown, Travis Fulgham. I'm going to sit Marquise Brown. Standard flex, Rager or Phillip Lindsay. I'm going to go with Rager. McKissick or Kareem Hunt in PPR. Your podcast rocks. Thanks, Claire. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. Thielen, Claypool, Kirk, or Chark. Pick 2, half PPR. I'm going to go with Thielen and Kirk. Browns or the Vikings D. I talked about that one. Drake or Gordon. I think you can go with Gordon. Full PPR need 2. Melvin Gordon, Kalen Balaj, Jordan Reed, or Tim Patrick. I would go with the first 2. Bernard, Jamal, Samuel, and Moss. I'm assuming that's Jamal Williams. I would go with Bernard and Moss. Half PPR, Reed or Gesicki. Again, I don't know. I already talked about this one. Goddard or Andrews. I already talked about this one as well. I'm going Andrews. Hi, JJ. I might have missed your response, but half PPR bench 2. Moss, Geo, McKissick, Marvin Jones, AB. I'm going to go with benching McKissick and Jones. I guess the guys in the same matchup. I really like the environment for Moss. Geo's fine. I think he has a high floor. And then AB obviously has the upside. Half PPR need 2. Melvin, Moss, McKissick, Hollywood. I am going to go with Moss and I'm going to risk it with Hollywood there. I think McKissick has a higher floor though for sure. Browns or Vikings, just talked about that one. I'm going to stick with the Vikings against Chicago on Monday night. Last question of the day, Kelly or Balaj, full PPR. I'm going to go with Balaj because of what we saw last week, but that Chargers backfield is completely up in the air. I got to head out of here though. It is 12:30. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel here on FanDuel or here at FanDuel. My brain is fried from answering all these questions. Big thanks to our producer, Calvin Theobald, for running the show. Good luck to everyone in week 10, and hopefully the weather doesn't ruin you.